Wonderful good morning, everyone. Good to have you here with me on my drive, my early morning drive to get to work. Mondays can be a tricky day for us 9 to 5ers, but as I was commenting, if you're doing what you love and you love what you're doing, you're not working, you're having fun, aren't you? Yes. So I'm going to be joined by Mr. Kenrick Gordon. Yes, our VP out of the county of Cornwall. So I'm waiting to be joined by Mr. Gordon so we can have a discussion for the benefit of Uniters wanting to get to know their VP. All right. So welcome to those who are on with me on this Monday morning drive. How was your weekend? Hope it was pleasant. Hope it was beautiful. Hope you got rest. That is the key. That you were able to get some rest. Okay. So just let me know in the comment section what your weekend was like. Just say restful or peaceful. Now, over the weekend, we heard that the Prime Minister has indicated he and a major corporate entity, the head of a major corporate entity, say that Jamaica is short of skilled labor and we might have to import. I posted a tweet and follow at uicjamaica.com on Twitter, and you can follow right for UIC as well. But I made a post and everybody has been applauding it and retweeting it and liking it. And I said that what we get on these social media platforms are sound bites and is never the full story. But what we can look at is that Jamaica is a poorly run economy under trickle down economics. And it's simply this. If you look at the tradesmen over the year, they've always struggled to make a living. Always struggled to make a living because prices have always been going up. Our economy has never been stable. In all the years of our independence, our economy has never been stable. Simply because of the way we manage the country's resources, from deficit spending to forward selling of our resources, meaning selling it before it's actually processed or removed from the earth. So all of that stuff have been giving us a really poor example of how an economy should be run. So the Prime Minister wants to import labor when I, for one, am a skilled person. I'm hard certified. Yes, hard certified. All right? Graduated at top of my academy and top of my skill group. And I choose not to operate in the trades. Why? Because of how exploitative it is. These contractors, they can't afford to pay in most instances, the small ones. And the large ones, because of who they are affiliated with and the kind of business practice they use to get business, they have to undercut your rate in order for them to meet their margins. Okay? So think about it. If you want a government contract and when you bid, you have to kick back a certain amount so you can go to the party's war chest, then that leaves very little in your margin. Now you need to make your money. So you're gonna short pay your tradesman. And so the tradesmen have shied away from it. I know a lot of tradesmen who are running taxi or will move to other skilled areas. Okay? And I know a lot who have left the skills totally and have gone to do other jobs. Now, think about it. If our tradesmen were properly trained and properly certified, and on top of that, were properly remunerated, properly paid, they wouldn't be complaining about the shortage. Right? They wouldn't be complaining that our youth would rather sit on the roadside instead of going to work. They have created the issue. They have created that environment where our youth no longer want to work because it is not meeting their basic needs. Basic needs. So they gravitate towards other stuff. That's not justification for criminality or wrongdoing of any sort, but it's the reality that we have to face. And from facing that reality, we will be able to go ahead and motivate our kids or young ones to perform better. That is it. Now, the UIC plan is simple and straightforward. Revamp the training program that currently creates a skill group. In terms of job creation, we don't give preference to anyone. So whether you're a large or small contractor, whether you have given us a loan or not, you don't get to dictate who does the job. Because if you notice now, all the major construction sites in Jamaica are run by a particular company. And that particular company brings in its workers by droves. And in bringing in those workers, they in turn provide everything for the worker and pay them little or nothing. So we can compete with that in an economy where inflation is running so high, where every week your basic food basket increases. So we can compete with that. So our tradesmen are being left out. Now, I want to know what you think about that because that's going to be one of the issues we talk about. So in your comment section, please let me know. I'm going to reach out to the big man himself and see if the link is working for him. I know he was having some problem with the link. And so if the link doesn't work, I'm going to have to hit him up again. Let me call the big man and see where he's at. So stick with us. VP Kenrick Gordon will be here to share his point of view on this and many more UIC matters happening right here. I have the man himself on. VP Kenrick Gordon. I see him languishing in our green room. And let me just merge and bring him on. VP Gordon, can you hear me? VP Gordon, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. There you go.
Okay,
That's my
awesome.
novice with this platform, my brother. That's me being a novice. I should have clicked that little white button to bring you on. So it's a
That's
pleasure to have
awesome.
you on with me, my young brother.
Yeah, man, the pleasure is all mine.
Wonderful. So this morning we have kind of the bearded wonder twins going on. All right,
Yes,
we're,
man.
we're, we're in full boss mode this morning. I just dropped my daughter off at school, and I'm on the way to work. So I now have a 45-minute drive. So we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk UIC. Are
Okay.
you up for that?
Yes, man, absolutely.
All right. So firstly, I want Uniters to get to know you. So tell us briefly, really quickly, who are you and what position you currently hold in the UIC? So they hear it from you and not.
Okay. Well, good morning again, you Jamaica, and also in the diaspora. My name is Kenrick Gordon, VP for the UIC. Also, I'm Councillor Candidate for Mount Salem and East Central St. James. Also, currently holding the parish manager's position. You know that the table there is a bit spread. We have to do what we have to do. We have to make the choice we want to see. Well, I was born and raised on the western side of the island. Went to high school there. My first job there was working. Well, my first real job there was actually working in the early childhood education system. Moved off to work into to the hotel industry. You know, left the western side here in Montego Bay. You know, absolutely, you got like-minded persons who are trying to see the change that you're trying to see in Jamaica. And absolutely, you will, you know, work together in that aspect. And so that has brought me to the UIC, first as a volunteer, which I asked everyone in Jamaica or in the diaspora to, you know, at least try to be at least a volunteer, which I've moved from that volunteer, well, still volunteering, but actually moved up to councillor candidate, parish manager, VP. So, you know, it's there for everyone, and we have to make the change that we want.
Definitely. Great to hear that. So now people know that you're a man with many talents, wear many hats for the UIC and as a young man. Tell the audience, how old are you, Kenrick? I mean, if you don't want to put it out there, I won't hold it against you. But tell the audience, how old are you?
Yeah, man, I'm 36 at this present moment in time. Well, September the 26th, I'll be 36. I'm a Libra for those who want to know.
There you go. So a young man making change in Jamaica, fighting for change. And yet they say young people in Jamaica are amounting to nothing. I wonder where they get that, VP Gordon.
Well, I don't know where they get that, you know. Well, I want to tell you this, though, that with the current system that we have, young persons aren't really that much keen, to take involvement, to get really involved in the politics system. But we can't blame them, Sir Chairman. We can't really blame them. And the reason for this is that they have not really seen anything that is substantial in terms of growth for them. Now, remember, these young persons aren't really looking for handouts. They're hardworking 9 to 5 for just like ourselves. So they aren't really looking for handouts, but policies. Policies in place that will see them, making much better use of their income, much better chance of growth, opportunities for them in Jamaica. And that is sort of the things that young persons want to see. And for 77 years, and to date, this would make 78 years going, which young persons in Jamaica have not been seeing much of that going on. Like for myself, I haven't seen that in all the years I've been in Jamaica, born and raised here. There has been no real opportunities for us.
All right, so let's talk about the youth in Mount Salem. What do you think are their outlook on life? How can the youth in Mount Salem progress?
Absolutely. Well, I see the youth in Mount Salem, and they want to progress. They want to go ahead. From my walks and my dialogue with the youth in Mount Salem, what they're looking for is, I'll give you an example. Recently, the Prime Minister posted that, they're hinting of bringing in workers from foreign countries to fill the gaps here for skilled workers. We have a lot of skilled workers in Mount Salem, and during my walk, a lot of persons ask, that the UIC, once we get into the driver's seat, to create that sort of a nursery to bring them in, get them out there to gain that experience that they want, because there are a lot of skilled workers, these youths in Mount Salem, is that they want to go forward, but there's not a platform. There is not really system set in place for the excel and be great within themselves. But UIC is here, we're hearing those cries, and we are putting to paper to make sure that these needs.
Definitely, and we can't talk about Mount Salem without first picking up the guys at Piggott Street, Steve, Swallow, and the crew working out there. They're strong UIC supporters, strong Gordon supporters, and these are all skilled persons that work along that entire stretch. So big up to the guys at Piggott Street are doing their thing, from the mechanics all the way to the bodyman and the spray man.
Yeah, man. Can I say something? Because when I talk about skilled workers, the names that you have just called, these persons who have worked in countries like England, working on and even in the States, from what I've heard, working on high value vehicles, BMWs, Mercedes, and stuff. So when you talk about we don't have skilled workers here, that's a disrespect, blatant disrespect by the people.
Of course, we have to big up. We have to big up my friend who is the Tyler from Razor. So we're not only talking about skills in auto body, we're talking about construction skills, because there are several guys you down in the MCA. These are skills. And we can put the whole of Mount Salem from Francis all the way back. We know all the skilled guys working on here, and these guys need employment and the quality of their work. That entire area is built by these guys. No labor came in from anywhere. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how will you help put a rein on these policies that there is no labor in Jamaica to support the importation by big contractors like check of labor into Jamaica unabated?
Well, absolutely. We need to do, first off, we need to resort to what the UIC 10-point plan is saying, and one of the main things before we can even get to that is that we need to change this constitution. We have to make it conducive to growth. What we need to do is to implement, and what the UIC will actually do is to really implement the training necessary, through community development. Not just to say that if you're in this area, then you won't get help or that area. Community development and training, proper training to make sure ready. Human capital is what we have here in Jamaica. It is our goal. It's our oil, and this is what we have to work with and develop.
All right. But let me ask you, they're already skilled and they have gone through the existing certification program. But what other training would they need? Are you talking like business training where they can operate their skill as a business and be more effective?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think what happens, is that we just as you mentioned it, we really need entrepreneurship within the area. And we do have it, because even the names that you've called from Salem, Swallow, and these persons, Gitchy, and these persons are skilled workers who have made themselves into entrepreneurs. But we just need to spread this a bit more. I think there's too many red tapes and too many roadblocks in the system for persons who want to get out there. And one of the main things you see, Sir Winston, is that when you go out there and you break your back on these construction sites and the dollar does not trade off, it kind of puts you into a situation where you're thinking, I need to run away from this country, to go to some place else where I can get better pay, which should not be the case. And so this is the reason why a lot of persons are yearning, begging and crying and bawling for the UIC to take over so that we can stabilize and fix the economy.
You raised an important point about economic stability. I lived and worked overseas for 5 years. And during that period, this is a country that is the size of one parish. Right? And their dollar is $2.40 at the time, I think, to one US. Yes,
right.
$2.40 to one US. Okay? And during the period I was living and working there, that dollar did not slip one. On the other hand, since I've been back to Jamaica, our dollar have slipped well over $60 down against the US dollar.
Can you imagine?
All that is literally wiping out earnings and savings. So I can imagine a tradesman who is earning, for argument's sake, $20,000 a fortnight. And when he took the job, that $20,000 could have bought him, for argument's sake, 2 weeks grocery.
Right.
The time he gets that first fortnight pay, he can only buy one.
That's
because
true.
of how the exchange rate is. So is it that you're saying that the UIC policies will stabilize the economy, or you're saying that we will increase it to make sure we can compete with the sliding dollar?
Well, we will stabilize the economy, bring it to a better place. As a matter of fact, the UIC will the UIC system or governance will take away the bank from the big bankers actually and make it into our own. So we won't have to worry about all those inflations, and I mean, of course, we know that we have IMF and all those other countries to those are the banks to take care of and systems to take care of, but like the president says, there is no contract or no agreement that can't be renegotiated, and so that is something that we need to look on.
I've done that before.
Absolutely. So we need to fix the economy, fix the economy, ensure that whenever you work something for you're able to utilize it to the betterment. I'll give you an example. Since we're watching this live, if you are a 9-to-5 worker and you're just about one, you can take it out and look at it if you access your job right now. The government had mentioned increasing minimum, and the increase in minimum wage, we thought, not the UIC members, because we are educated towards what this is. It's a trick, but for those out there that didn't really know, look at your stub, see what you used to get, and know that minimum wage has increased. See what you're getting now with the increase in taxation. No, not only that, look at the cost for buying stuff that you need for food, etc. To be exact, food in one instance. I can tell you that right now, chicken is $320 a pound. I can tell you that. So if you used to use for instance $20,000 to get grocery for your house, the same thing that you used to get last week again. And there has been an increase in minimum wage. So don't we see the trick that
Well, what I can share with the audience is that for the past 2 months, I've been trying because the government to measure, and I've been trying to find out
Mhm.
what comes together to make that price index, and I have not been able to find that at the government statistician website. I get any credible answer. But so why would the government want to hide from the people and that they are using to make decisions? Is it that information is inaccurate? Or is it that the information is unreliable? Or is it that the information is so damning they don't want the public to know? Those are the questions we would ask. But let me ask you now, in terms of developing Mount Salem, persons hear about Mount Salem and hear about crime. Recently, there was a shooting, then there was a zone of special operation. So people associate Mount Salem with quote unquote badness. Right? How would you want to see Mount Salem develop under UIC government to change that stigma?
First, we need to get rid of the narrative and the whole idea of a Jason sort of community. We need to get rid of that, and UIC is keen on that. So that is something that we are already we have already written in our manifesto plan to get these areas fixed. No garrison. So that is number one. Number two, we have to make sure that there is social intervention, and that social intervention will work in a broad aspect. To engage youth, making sure that they have engage youth in making sure they have mentors, in youth in making sure that they find something do which is not linking with these gangs. Or other developments in terms of the way the streets and the communities are being kept. Once you see the cleanliness around, it makes you feel good. We can't rely on just the police. We can't rely on just equipments like guns and bikes and cars to stop the crime and violence. Nowhere in Jamaica, not just in Mount Salem. It have to be a situation where the youths are feeling that, if we engage here, then, it's not a fast lane, but you will make the money legitimately and you will see its worth. And I think that is what is causing the crime and violence in Mount Salem. A lot of youths feel as if, there's nothing better for me to do than to engage in this sort of lifestyle. And not just all that, but a lot of youths feel as if there's no justice in Jamaica, and it's plaguing us, not just in Mount Salem, but largely where there's no justice. And you can't get the justice that you want. It's sad to say, but persons are resorting to violence and jungle justice.
Okay, that's a great point. Because the UIC has always complained about how expensive or how inaccessible justice is for the quote unquote poor man. So I take
Right.
your point that let me ask you now, what kind of relationship the people in the entire Mount Salem, because I know Mount Salem is a big division and it consists of several types of communities. Let's do that, call it types. So what is
Right.
the relationship like for the different communities with the police?
Well, I can tell you this, for Mount Salem, the relationship with the police is no different from Jamaica's relationship with the police. I mean, the police in Jamaica is a police force. That's for number one. I will say that you have good officers in the force as well, which provides a service. They know how to deal with the community, they know how to deal with persons on a one-on-one. It doesn't really matter your dress code or how you look. They'll approach you properly, trying to get the information that they need and to assist. No, but in general, we have a police force in Jamaica which does not really gear towards, getting that sort of information on a service level. what they do is to force and to beat it out of you. Know, believe me, this is logics, and I like to talk logic, Sir Winston Wright. You know, Mr. Chairman, I like to really get down to logics. If you
Right,
have
right.
a dog in your yard, or if you have any sort of animal, it doesn't matter. But I'm using a dog because you know dogs bite, and you let the dog be afraid of you. You know, you try to kick and throw stones at that dog. Of course, they will run and they'll run for some time. But remember that once they are cornered and they can't get away from you to run again, they will bite. And so now that is the result that we are seeing in Mount Salem and in the rest of Jamaica.
Understood. Now let's talk about you. One of the things I was really pleased to hear is that not only that you hail from the great West, yes, the West is the best, but you also represent for the blue and blue. Tell us about
Yes.
your days in that noble school and what your thoughts are about the kind of education you received there.
Yes, I believe that you know Means is a great school. I should say it was the second oldest school in Jamaica, so I'm very pleased to
Call it
have
in, man. Call
gone
it
there.
in. Call it in. Call it in.
You know, the education system there is good. I mean, teachers are very you know very in tune and inclined. You know, they're very keen on making sure that you get the proper education that you need. But the system, it goes back to that in Jamaica, the education system. I believe that there are can be done. I have that much as how Manning and many other you know great schools in Jamaica are doing their best to educate and you know teach our youth and bring them up properly. The system is still lacking. Our education system is still lacking somewhat of how do I say it now? Things because more of a patriotic subjects are more of patriotic persons. For example, I remember growing up and you know I used to get civic back in the days as a subject, and you know they've removed it, they added social studies, but civics to me is way more in depth. It speaks a lot more towards the running of your country, duties and roles of persons in leadership in your country, and you know it says, and not just that, but we need to get more Afrocentric, and that is something that the UIC is looking to implement as well. So I think Mannings, being at the caliber that they are, would play a pivotal role, very, very great role in leading out this Afrocentric sort of education. Persons leaving high school now would be more, you know, self-motivated. The self-esteem would be there. You know, believing in your awesomeness, believing in your, you know, your Jamaicanness, if I may put it that way, if that's even a word, you know, would believe, you know, in more in what you can create. I don't want to sound um well one-sided in terms of persons thinking you know on a racist level, but no, not I'm not at all. But development of the black man. And I think that is what is much needed. You
All right. I like that. The government said that you will time spent in school. I think 1 year, or is it 2? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was a year. If you were in high school,
I think
no, the government say I'm going to increase the amount of time you spend in high school. Is that something, considering your economy at the time, your family's economic strength at the time, and your career outlook? Would that be something that would have been appealing to you at that time? Do you think it's a wise idea now?
I don't think it would have been a wise idea. I don't think it is a wise idea now. To each another year. After you leave high school, you know, remember that you're moving on to college and you're moving on to university. I think that what they should have done, you know, and I don't know why, I don't know if they're not studying the development of other first world countries. I mean, you don't have to take everything from them, but you can at least build around what they have done. And when you look at the schooling system, for example, in a United States, you know, you get out elementary and you know you move on to junior high or high. You know, you are being taught entrepreneurship from that level. You know, you have been taught how to get into science from that level. You have been taught so many stuff that by the time you get to high school, or even you are a Mark Zuckerberg, you know, you get to university, you've already become a Mark Zuckerberg, you've already become an Elon Musk. You know, so that is the sort of thing that we don't need them to spend an extra year in high school. What we need is for these children, these students, you know, to be taught how to make more themselves. You know, and it doesn't take more years. It takes from a tender age, you know, from kindergarten going all the way up, you know, to get their mindset ready to be entrepreneurs, to be innovators and developers, you know, of medicines and robotics and you name it. You know, that's the sort of stuff that we want to see.
Now you talk about entrepreneurship a lot, which is the mantra: wealth building, wealth creation, opportunity
Mhm.
take up. The youth in Mount Salem, how will you help them get to that point where they see their idea as level to something larger and better?
Okay, in terms of entrepreneurship for the
Yes,
youth in Mount Salem, you
yes.
know,
Let's get the guys that we are just calling out, you know, picking them up, their idea. So let's say my good friend Steve, that is a mechanic, and
mhm.
how can a person like that is so skilled worked at so many times, right? So many times that different vehicles that I've had, every single vehicle that I've had, he has kept it
Mhm.
serviceable and running. Somebody, how can the UIC encourage entrepreneurship to scale his business up to something bigger and better? And by extension, all the youths in Montego.
Absolutely. Well, I can say that, you see, from my view, and also from the UIC's education. So, workshop and working with these persons in the system that we have. There are too many red tapes and roadblocks. You know, blocking persons from getting they want to. You know, it's sort of a jigsaw puzzle where things have to fall in place in terms of constitution, banking, and however, one of the main thing is to educate these persons on entrepreneurship. A lot of persons know how to, you know, swing the bucket, shovel, read the tape, use their skills, etc. But when it comes on to financial management, when it comes on to starting up a business, not much person have that experience or the know-how to, you know, and that is one of the things that, you know, I myself and our counselors here in the Montego, you know, are looking towards, you know, doing those workshops, you know, bringing in persons that are able to teach, tutor in those workshops, you know, show you how to start up your business, how to run it, so that you are getting in those customers. And not just that alone, but to maintain that business going forward. So I think it's really the have persons here in Mount St. These young men and young women, they have the heart, they have the mind. It is something that they want to do. I mean, I've spoken to them. They want to own businesses. They want to run businesses that are successful in a successful economy. You know, so first, you know, we teach them through going. Go ahead.
Don't say it. I like that. I like that. But let
Oh
me let
yes,
me
yes,
ask
yes.
you. You talk a lot about education. Why is that?
Mhm. Well, I tell you this first and foremost is that, you know, you need to first have an idea. Education is wide. You know, I'll say it is very wide because if you're a person that wants to go into science, you'd have to be educated on science. You know, if you're a person who wants to go into business, you'd have to be educated on fast. But at the same time, I'm sorry, but at the same time, whatever it is that is your liking, whatever it is that you think that you would love to do to excel, you have to be educated on this. You have to know the science behind it. So if you're going into farming and you believe that, you know what, I want to, you know, farm some pumpkin. Why just pumpkin? man to come and buy. Why not excel at outlets so you can distribute your pumpkin? You know, maybe even distribute it over the 14 parishes of Jamaica. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but it all comes down to, do you know how to do it? I need these workshops in place. So you show you how, you know, persons working alongside you to success and helping you to maintain.
Okay, okay. I like that. Now you mentioned farming just now, and the UIC believes seriously in farming, but not just farming, organic farming to create food security.
Absolutely.
Mount Salem, what is your idea for farming in such a suburban area? How can your farming project that you are developing for your area come to fruition, considering that it's built out almost completely?
Absolutely. Well, I can tell you this, that Mount Salem, many persons, if you know the area, it is truly a concrete jungle. It is. However, what is going on is, you know, from recent talks with persons living my scheme, you know, they are willing to go into farming. However, there are lands all about Sir Winston, you know, there are lands all about in and around the area, you know, of St. James, Montego Bay, it's the same. And persons are willing to take up the mantle to farm these lands. However, you know, it still comes down to, you know, what are the roadblocks that are stopping these persons from getting these lands to farm. But separate and apart from that, what's encouraging in our community is vertical farming. And that is something that I've tried myself, does work. I can tell you that I've reaped callaloo from my little vertical home garden. I've reaped scallion, thyme. I've reaped pepper. You know, I have okra trees coming, church are coming. You know, you just have to work within your confines. And these are just to sustain, might I add, just to sustain the farm, stay in the home. Now, if you want to go on a commercial scheme, then that is where we want to at least get a acre, half acre, somewhat thereabout of land, you know, and, you know, UIC believes in going into organic farming and adding the science behind it. So greenhouse, of course, you know, does not play such a big role in destroying or, you know, whatever the case may be of your crops. You know, you have 100% yield, you have more of grade A yields, and these can be sold in the market for the better price. So, and, you know, that is some of the stuff that we want to implement. The persons in the Mount Salem area, of course, these guys want to work, man. Believe me, they want it, you know, but there are so many red tapes, and that is what we are fighting to break down those red tapes and those barriers, help us to be able to access these lands and, you know, put in the work that we so dearly want to do, you know.
Right. Now, when your farming project finally kicks off, I need you to come back here and share with us, including videos and pictures of how it's going. All right. And for the
Absolutely.
persons in Mount Salem that are looking on and want to talk to you more about it, tell me how they can reach out to you. Where can they find you? Which social media? Which website? Where can they find you to drop you a line to say, hey, I'm interested in your farming project or any other project that you're running in your area?
Absolutely. We have, as a matter of fact, UIC has a program that once you guys get signed up, we can talk a bit more about it. But however, my contact number, and you can get me on WhatsApp, send me a message anytime of the day, anytime of the night, is 876-772-4400. And again, it is 876-772-4400. You can also find me on Facebook. You know, I'm very loud on Facebook, guys. You should notice that. You can find me on Facebook. I am Kenrick Gordon on Facebook. Councillor Candidate Kenrick Gordon. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter, and I do use my name, Kenrick Gordon. You know, on Twitter, on Instagram, just the same. So look me up. You know, I'm always there. I'm always posting, always reaching out.
Out again, the people in the Mount Salem area. This is Kenrick Gordon, your VP for the region, Councillor Candidate. He just put his contact details. So if you want to get in touch to find out what in and get more details. Can't give us everything here because there's a real copycat running around these days with the UIC programs. You know, from
Oh my.
our task force to our youth employment program to certain style of posting that our president has been undertaking for years. But we won't go into that. So,
Yes.
persons in the CLM area, touch base with your prospective councillor, touch base with your councillor candidate, and find out what's going on in your community and see how his programs can pan out because we need to put our hands together to make this happen. And the young man, VP Kenrick
Absolutely.
Gordon, is here willing to do the work to elevate the next generation. So let's work with him. All right, so we talked about education, we talked about development. Now, there's one aspect of Mount Caleb that has faded away over the past 5 years that most people don't know about. And I'll tell people that I used to live in that area, VP Gordon. My first child was born at the Cornwall Hospital.
Yes.
If you know Rosemount Meadows, right? I used to hang out at Rosemount Meadows during my younger days. Rosemount Gardens is where I lived for about 9 years.
Yes.
And you know that area is an area well known. My first job was as a food salesman in the Mount Salem area. Very first job
Yes.
straight out of high school. So I know the area well. And so one aspect of Mount Salem that has faded away is the entertainment life in Mount Salem. Right? And so and that stretch between Bigot Street and down to your head was where it all used to happen. How has the youth feared now that football and the regular street parties aren't going on in Mount Salem?
Well, I tell you that to be honest, it's out of the livelihood of the Salem, I should say. Persons living here in Mount, you know, there's Mackey's bar right at the front there, and you know a lot of persons, you know, to make it a profit. The football also, you know, the corner league, you know, all those stuff are ways to make their livelihoods, you know, and these are things that person can really, you know, capitalize on, you know, to an extent if it is something that you like to do, because remember that UIC, we do believe in entrepreneurship, you know, so these are stuff that they capitalize on to make your livelihood. But I can tell you, Sir Winston Wright, that it has been for persons here living with them that these activities have been put to cease, you know, and it has rattled a lot of no recreation, and of course we know what happens when Jack does not play, work all day and does not play. You know, he becomes a dull boy, and we're seeing that evidently, you know, in the area. Flare up of crime, a lot of flare up of you know, persons, you know, just idling about and doing stuff that is not you know, that is not conducive to growth, or that is not practical. So to speak. So it is rattling us a lot. But what we have to do, what I'm doing actually, you know, is to, you know, so we can gel that community back together. See if we can get some activities going on here. You know, persons can really get out, enjoy themselves just the same. And not just that, but be educated during the process. You know, listen to the VP speech, listen to the president's speech, you know, hear what is going on from their counselor, you know, and just to reach out to them. So each time we make this happen, we start to do what is educating, you know, during the process.
Right. And so let's talk about how your representation of the community and how that is going. I have another question about crime, but I'll come to that later.
Right.
In your walks, how many of the areas, how many of the streets have you gone into so far on your walks? Because I know you do community walks when you're on your day off from your regular 9 to 5 job.
Right. Okay. So I've walked the lanes, the main streets exactly. You know, Pickard Street is one of them. Crawford Street is one of those. Francis Isabella, you know, known as Tenement is one of those. You know, Westgate. Actually, we did a video in Westgate just the other day showing some of the drainage areas that need to be cleaned. You know, and trees growing there that takes actually 9 months to reach the point that we're at where they are. You know, and Rose Heights, I have stepped in those communities just the same. You know, kind of getting a feel from the persons. I've got a few numbers for persons just the same. You know, we talk, kind of get the feeling of what's going on. And persons are hoping and looking and begging for the change. They're begging for UIC to really get in there and, you know, make the changes that we have hoped for and long awaited for so many years. I can tell you that the feeling out there is welcoming. Great. We still have a
All right.
few.
Okay, that's what I was
But
going
it's
to
good.
ask if those waters are going to continue.
Absolutely, they will. They definitely will continue. It is something that I want to make sure that I keep doing. I don't want us, or well, I've learned actually, being that I was, you know, when you're not brought up in a political scope, so to speak. You know, you weren't tutored and coached by the corrupt persons out there doing it. You know, so you're here representing as a person, feeling the pain, being in the situation yourself. And what I've noticed is that you don't really see councillors, MPs coming through until close to an election. And that is something that we need to wipe out. You know, we want to make sure that if a person needs their councillor, their MP, I mean, they can just get them just like that. You know, an MP and a councillor is always moving through, you know, as they can without having to wait for an election date coming close. You know, so absolutely, the walks will continue. The talk will continue.
Understood. Understood. Always present.
I think you're frozen a little there, Sir Winston.
VP Gordon, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You're frozen a little.
Drop a comment and let me know who's frozen me or VP Gordon. So
Yeah, I'm getting a little static delay.
that drive, a morning drive.
Mm-hmm. Getting a bit of static there. I'm not hearing you at the moment. Not hearing you, sir. Sir Chairman. Okay, I think we have lost Sir Winston. Yep. But definitely guys here on the live, absolutely. You know, we need a change, and that's what we are definitely about. You know, we need to just as our president says, you know, we need to get rid of the red tape and promote entrepreneurial solutions that empowers our young people to rise and shine. And definitely that is what we are about. We want to make sure that you know, once you get out of high school, then you don't need to run off to a foreign country. And this has always been my take on the matter. You know, we're not living in space. Well, you know, we're not living on a different planet. You know, we are on the same rock as Singapore, as Canada, as the US, you know, as England, as these other countries. And I mean, we are humans just as they are, with brains just as they are, you know, with two hands and feet just as they do. So I don't see a reason for us not to be able to excel, except for the style of governance and leadership that we have now. And that is the reason why, you know, we are pushing so hard, and that we are fighting so hard, you know, to get the UIC in the driver's seat, because we know Jamaica knows that once UIC is elected, then our manifesto, our 10-point plan will take effect. You know, and it is something that has been well thought out. you know, to make sure that Jamaica becomes the best that it can possibly be. You know, once you allow persons the opportunity to excel, I believe that is something that they want to do. I don't believe that there's any man that does not want to see themselves excel in life. And so we have to create the avenues. We have to create the platform for them to do so. And that is what I firmly believe in. You know, so that is our plan there for the UIC and for Jamaica especially. You know, and for farmers, absolutely. You know, I'm seeing a lot of persons here in the comments. I'm just going through, browsing through the comments. I see a lot of persons commented on the farming topic just the same. And yes, I mean, there has been a post that I've recently saw on Facebook where in which the now agricultural minister is making a post similar to something that I went on live and said recently. And the president has always been saying this, you know, that we need to put more emphasis on the farmers. We need to we need to remove that stigma from the farmers, making them seem as if they are bottom of the barrel. We have to change that. You know, without the farmer, you can't have a healthy, strong policeman to stand there on the street and do their civil police duty. Without the farmer, you can't have a healthy, strong doctor and a nurse to attend to you. You know, without the farmer. Yeah, so that is the situation that we're having right now. You know, and I think that we need to look deeply and keenly. Sorry about that, guys. We need to look keenly into fixing these issues. You know, we can't have farmers feeling as if they're at the bottom of the barrel when they're the ones who are making sure that we are strong and healthy. You know, to make it out to our daily life. So, you know, let's pick it up again another time. You know, persons that are here on the live, we have lost the chairman and interviewer. So I'll reach out to him and see if he's still there available to continue live. But if not, then you know we can take it up another time. Yes, but absolutely, these are things that we need to look into, seriously look into. You know, and we can't waste we can't go 70, we can't waste all of these years. I mean, it has been 77 years now, going to 78. And if we are to rely on hope and rely on a wonder if, then we will have the same results that we've been having for all these years. You know, it's full time, I believe, that we take a stand. One Jamaica, take that stand. Come on, step out. You know, don't be reluctant. If you believe that farmers are being neglected, you need to join UIC. You know, if you're a taxi man and you believe that you are being mistreated, you know, especially those in Montego Bay here, you have the H on your vehicle, yet you can't drive around Montego Bay without being ticketed or being robbed by the transport authority. They pull you over and they take money from you. You need to join the UIC. You know, if you're a teacher and you believe that, listen, you're teaching and you're doing your best, but listen, the salary is not up to par. The system is not up to par, then you need to join the UIC, make a change. You know, you're a police officer and you believe that, listen, crime and violence can be fixed, you know, because of how the system is, then you need to join the UIC. Yeah, come back, Sir Chairman, Sir Winston Wright.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
got
man.
booted and it was hell to get back in. But I'm back with you, my brother.
Yeah, man.
Continue, please.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. So I was just saying to our listeners that, listen, if you're having issues, if you're second thoughts about the system, it can only mean one thing. It just simply means that you should join the UIC. You know, if you are a farmer out there, you're a taxi driver, you're a 9 to 5 worker, you look at your paycheck after they have raised minimum wage, and you still can't buy what you used to buy last week, last month, it simply means that you need to join the UIC. You know, 77 years, 78 years, we have all seen this. And believe me, it was not one political party holding Jamaica for the 77 years. It was both of them simultaneously, you know, in and out. I run in, you run out, sort of situation. And we see there has been no change in the system, no change in policies. Join the UIC, man. You know, it's as simple as that.
It is as simple as that. You know, as a former trade unionist, I like to tell people that there is no amount of raise you can give someone to compensate for a failing economy. An economy that is unstable, where the inflationary forces are, and I don't use this term in the ordinary sense that Jamaicans are used to it. Inflationary forces are under control, because we are used to a government saying, oh, we will fight inflation. The government can't fight inflation. That's a losing battle. An economist will tell you that inflation is a market force. Okay? It's a market force. So you don't fight inflation. All right? What you do is prepare the market to handle it. And if the market is stable, then inflationary forces will be less.
Absolutely.
Right? So the economists here, if you disagree, correct me. But I know nobody will disagree with that. But to the reality of it, you know, I have to bring this up, Brother Gordon. I know it's your time to shine. I have to bring this up. The Prime Minister was on here the other day, and this was after news broke that he had made a $190 million statutory claim, meaning he has declared that his family asset is in the region of $190 million. And let me give context to that. I know many successful businessmen who have headed several successful businesses who don't have that family asset base. Okay? I know many entrepreneurs who have started and even sold successful businesses that don't have that family asset base. I'll go further and say that I don't know of any career politician that should have that asset base, because they are civil servants just the same. Well paid, yes, but civil servants just the same. Now, here is what is treacherous for me. The man who controls the strength of our economy by virtue of our governance system is poorly designed, and said he made his $190 million investing in FX, foreign exchange. Now, when you trade in foreign exchange, you're betting that the local currency does worse than a competing currency. So, in a sense, the leader of the country just made a boatload of money by saying, I think Jamaican currency is going to do bad. Now, here's the part that is hard to swallow for me. It is that same person who is in charge of the country's economy and determines how the economy performs.
Can you believe that, my brother? It's some serious thing that's in. You have to preach this. I tell you, you have to preach this.
All right. It is also the same person who is in charge of the fiscal policy that determines how our money works.
Yes.
And most importantly, this person is the head of our economy. So can anybody say that this isn't a conflict of interest? That
it is.
This person acted in good faith of the country and not his pocket all the time. Here's another important one that we shouldn't miss. He encouraged every Jamaican to do like he did. Now imagine if all 2.9 million Jamaicans get up and did what he did. We would have destroyed Jamaica to line our pockets. Now people are saying, no, but I make money. Now here's the thing, that all of us can make money in an investment plan. Somebody has to win, somebody has to lose.
Absolutely.
And he's making sure he's at the head of the queue so he wins.
Absolutely.
Now, I had to bring this up because of what we're talking about, to understand that the economic struggles that we face are all because of poor leadership because of special interest. His special interest in making sure his FX investment does well, if that's where the monies came from, right? Another politician's special interest in making sure that these lands are divested to a company that he choose at a rate where that company gets it cheap and therefore can later on kick back monies to him or offer him a big job. And we see that all the time.
For
All the
77
time.
years, my brother, it has been the case.
And we all look at it and cringe. But you have a few people who said, sure, I saw the thing up. And I find that dangerous and very telling. The UIC don't want the thing figures up for a few. We want policies that are transparent, that the entire Jamaica benefits from.
Yes.
The entire Jamaica. Anyway, let that take from your spotlight. Back to Mount Salem. So now,
yes, man.
there are several pieces of land in the area that we can look at them and say they are ripe for development. But the area has had that kind of planning to make it a proper town over the years. As a councillor, you will have influence over that town planning process. What will you bring to that discussion?
Absolutely. Well, I want to say that, you know, one of the things that we have been discussing and that we have planned as the UIC is to, you know, develop these lands in their respectful rights. You know, if you look at these lands, you realize that a lot of them can go vertical. Sorry, well, yes, vertical in terms of building houses. You know, instead of spreading out the entire the houses all over the place, why not just build? Why not go up? You know, there are lands that can be used for farming. We use those for farming. There are lands that should be used for roadways. Let's use those for roadways. You know, we can't just be building and not respecting walkers and commuters, you know, to move by. One of the same issue that we're having right now is the flooding. You know, it's the flooding. It's how poorly designed our communities and towns are. You know, and a lot of, well, you know, also we get it from British and, you know, them place here just pop up. There wasn't really any plans. And I say, how can you have leaders in your country that will allow place to just pop up without any real plans? And of course, persons want place. We don't deny that. But at the same time, they can be truly executed properly without plan. If you don't plan to win, then you want to fail. You know, and so us developing these places, you know, with under a scientifically, how do I say, from a scientific point of view, building the houses in terms of how we set the roadways, in its systems, you know, and we still need to make sure that those farmlands, you know, still available for persons or persons to entrepreneurship, maybe, you know, start up a business. We need spaces and areas for those, you know, without the red tapes and without the blockade to stop them from going forward. You know, so one of the things I want to do, Sir Chairman, you know, is to, you know, see to it that when these houses are being developed, you know, they are, you know, developed in a certain way which allows for, you know, spaces, you know, allows for you know, water and those stuff that would come from natural disasters, you know, to not affect our citizens, not affect our people and to kill them. You know, earthquake, we have to plan for these when we are doing our buildings. You know, the hurricanes, we have to plan for these when we are doing our buildings, and the floodings, you know, when we are doing our buildings. And at the same time, what if there's a fire in the community? You know, how do persons get to safety? These are some things that we have to take into consideration, you know, when we are designing our communities, when we are designing our city and our towns, you know. So being on the board, absolutely, these are some of the stuff that will, you know, be my lamentation to see that these things are, you know, are done properly, you know. So definitely.
Wonderful. Now, one of the things I remember Montego had was a strong community organization, community club. I know they built a new community center recently, but I've not seen that community violent expression or violent disagreement and bring the community together to work on a development plan that benefits all. What will you do?
Right. Well, absolutely. I can let me first speak to that the community club. You see what is happening in Mount or in Jamaica at large at the present moment is that this has not yet really taken over governance, and so we're still experiencing a bit of segregation as it speaks towards the parties, GLP, PNP. And so the community center was developed really to see the betterment of persons. I hate to put it like this, but it's we're in the green, persons in the green. You know, it was developed, so to speak, in that sense. And so, of course, it will not quell the crime and violence. It will not do much for persons who do not believe, you know, that they are not that they are a part of the system, and persons that do not believe that there are persons that don't believe that there are any help there for them, and for the mere fact that it was developed by the labor rights and the PNPs. You know, so these are kind of the segregation thing that is going on there. For me, though, you know, for things that I want to do and things that I will do, you know, in the community and things that are being done, you know, is to be in dialogue with these persons. Like I said, they need the mentorship. A building is good, you know, so we can have a quorum. We can properly sit down and have discussions. However, you know, a building won't stop crime and violence. A building won't create wealth. A building won't mentor these persons. A building won't make them feel patriotic about their community. This has to do with the reaching out. You know, this has to do with the presence, you know, of a leader in the area, and the presence of a person there discussing and talking to them, and, you know, seeing what their plight is, you know, and how best we can work on these plights for them. You know, a person that will engage them, you know, see them on the streets there hanging out and realize that, listen, it's a group of guys this who might be, you know, might cause some trouble, you know, day in, day out, you contact them, you talk to them and see what they need. If it's a job that you need, well, assist you in getting a job. If it is that you are having some problems in terms of education, you're not, you know, educated enough to go do the stuff that you want to do, assist you, you know, in pointing you in the right direction, etc. You know, these are the things that needs to be done. I think the club is there because of a political gain. And once we start to create a political ball game in any community, it will destroy it. You know, so I think that is what is taking place right now in Mount Salem. I've passed a community community center because I'm living in Cornwall Gardens. So of course I'm to and from, you know, past that community center. And I can tell you, Sir Winston, that I have not really seen anyone there other from members of the JLP party, followers and supporters of that party. Now, how can you develop a community if it is being divided? You understand? You go to Pickard Street, it's a mixture of JLP and labor rights in there. And if one and two labor get out of Pickard Street to go to that community center, it does not take development into Pickard Street. Same thing for Crawford Street, same thing for Cornwall Gardens. I mean, same thing for Rosemount Garden, you know, Westgate Hills and all of those places. You can't be you can't say that, you know, that, you know, it's a labor right community club, and, you know, they are invited, labor rights are invited, and you develop it for them. You run out PNPR, you look at them with an eye of scrutiny. You know, it breeds violence for the very least of things. You know, it breeds corruption, it breeds envy for the very least of things. You know, and so these are the things that we need to break down, these barriers. A community center is a community center for the community. You know, and it should be.
Right. I like that talk of inclusiveness, Brother Kenrick. That's exactly what the UIC stands for. united to unite as uniters. Yes, yeah, I like that right there. But listen, I'm almost at the end of my journey, and I love what we have talked about. I'd love to see you get to be the representative to bring all of these things to fruition. I know you're limited in what you can do because of the way the structures of the community governance is set up here in Jamaica. But
Right.
fear not, brother. Your young talent and passion will pay off. Just keep meeting the people, communicating with the people, and sharing the UIC vision. You said you're a parish manager, so uh, who else? Which are the other candidates you'd like to give a shout out to and give a strength to as they go out and spread the united word?
Yeah, man. I mean, all UI candidates, but since I'm here on the Cornwall side, then let's shout out Callum, who's been very vibrant here as well. Rosemary Logan, I got to give a big shout out to her as well. I mean, she is a woman on the ground, and even though she has a lot on her plate in terms of running her business, she has shown tremendous interest in seeing the development and bringing the name and the teachings across. I have to big up Sir Winston Wright, who is the chairman, also representing for Bethel Town. Yeah, man, definitely. And also he's the parish manager for Westmoreland, just the same. I have to big up Sheldon Wallace, absolutely parish manager for Ipswich, which is in St. Elizabeth as well. So bigging up all UIC supporters. Kareem, he's in, recently just finished his interview and ready to represent for the UIC. So of course, and there's if forgive me if I've missed any names that I called, but Angela DePass is over there doing tremendous work in Trelawney, just the same. There's a lot of persons out there that is running with the mantle, and just passing on the word, like a relay. And we have to big them up, and we love that. You don't have to be a candidate, mark you, to spread the word, or you can just be a person who listen. You wake up, you look at your paycheck, and you say, "Definitely don't right." You look what the PM and to how the system is orchestrated, and you said this is just not right. You are a UIC supporter. The fact that you can that way, it means you are a united independence Congress supporter. You need to do right now is to find your common ground, which is among us. So please be a part of it. Step out, support the UIC. Be the change that you want, not what somebody else wants to see. What you want, be that change. Yeah, man.
Definitely. And we'd definitely like to take some time to big up all those persons who have come out to support the candidates, especially their 12. We want to say thank you for recognizing that our platform represents true change and that our candidate needs that support, that community base to grow and to be the kind of representative that be an exception that is different from what you're used to over the past 77 years. So big up all uniters. Appreciate you, our 12s. We love and respect you, and we love and respect our community, and we're looking for that change, especially for the next generation. Brother Kenrick,
Absolutely.
thank you for being here with us this morning. It was great talking to you. Next time we talk some more about the blue and blue, what we represent.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
As usual, tune in, on this journey. We have some time, and we'll talk to each other and just bring understanding, love, and respect. Have a great
man,
day, everyone.
absolutely. Yeah, man. Bless up yourself. Sir Winston, take care. Take care of all persons on the live. Have a great one today.
Bless, brother.